Poppy with the baggage.
All the little side conversations, like I knew you and Tim, like, and like all these little things, something's gonna start working in the background while we're doing this, and they're just gonna help, start the seeds that grow into the trees tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
Like, all that
absolutely.
shit needs to happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is like in my mind. I'm like, okay, we'll start this, later, or do it, or do it, or do it. Like sometimes, if I don't fucking like get it jumped off, like in the physical form, and like, and have it like bookmarked, it doesn't make me take accountability for it, and then I'll be like, fuck, I'm not doing that shit no more. Like, it was a good idea, but I'm on to something else. So me actually getting it jumped off and like, just doing that, like now in my heart's like, all right, I gotta follow up and make good on all this, even though I'm going to, or I want to anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it really like just pushes you over the, the edge, and be like accountable, to do these things in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yo, it seems like you are the one that gets people excited to get in the room. The Super Jam shit seems to me super successful. It's been popping out. How long you been doing the Super Jams?
Super Jams. This was our second summer.
Second summer.
Yeah, I think because in my mind, it seems so much bigger than even what you guys see it so far. I see it being this crazy thing, like in its finality, where it's like this, amazing place where people show up on Tuesday night and no one's ever been to a thing on Tuesday, and you meet semi-famous people, and people that come into Seattle on a random Tuesday night from out of town go to this place. I see like a Studio 54 type of vibe, but for our type of music in our era. That's what I see in my mind. It's not there yet, but when I talk about it and I got, in my energy's beaming off me, that's what I'm feeling. That's what I feel about. So, that's the energy that's vibrating off me.
Yeah, because you guys did what, comedy shows and everything.
Yeah, we had Get the Gap come out there and do a comedy set and I'm ready to go for any other type of entertainment like that that's just not conventional. I try to keep like a lot of the live rap shit out of it, just because I feel like sometimes we beat people over the head to death with rap shows. Rap.
You think it's just too common of a thing for artists to be, not necessarily for artists, but it's too common just in like a local scene? Like, is it just too much of it, or?
I think so. I think, rapping, I don't think is very hard. We all can rap. Rapping is talking pretty much, right? But, bringing it to somebody in a really polished, curated, purified, like package, like that's a whole different thing. And most people don't. They're just happy to be on stage, or they're happy to have a mic in their hand, right? As far as locally, in any city, not just our city, but just anywhere. So most people that have seen rap shows, that's the vibes that they're getting, and they've gotten it over and over again. They get pressed to come see their friend, tons of times. Pretty soon they're like, all right, I'm sick of this shit. Let's just go out and listen to some songs and play some pool, right?
Yeah,
and so,
right.
I don't want to pull the rap bag out until I know it's special, right? Because I want to protect, the rap is my era's music. Like, we've devalued it so much over the years that, like, shit, I gotta make this shit special again.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you should rap at least once a week, or give them a little taste. I'm like, no, I don't want them to get get at me that easily. I want this to be something special.
That's that exclusivity that it brings.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you give it to them the one time, and they're like caught off guard because this is a little bit different. Like, I didn't expect this. Oh, there's a band with it, or whatever the thing is, you catch them off guard, and it's a treat for them, right? And that's what you want to sweep them off their feet, right? Like, the talent, that you're presenting to somebody should be breathtaking. That's how I feel.
Yeah, an experience.
I feel that
entire.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like. And I want to ask you too, when it comes to recording things, me personally, I want to make a very refined product, like you said, a very well thought out, curated kind of piece of art. How do you feel about it when you're recording things? Do you feel like every song is art to you, or do you prefer certain ones over others? Things like that. Like, what's your qualification process for a song before you release it to the people?
If a song inspires me enough to write these days, that's a special thing right off the bat. When you're younger, you can kind of write to anything. You're just excited about just creating, right? Like, when you're a young artist, you're just like, oh, like, I'm just excited to be recording myself, to make a song, right? It's like how many songs can I make? Um, at my stage uh, in the game, I'm so uninspired by a lot of things because I've seen so much of the same shit, or I've heard thousands of beats, or I've done this so many times. Like it's got to be very, very special for me to even want to write to anything. So if it does something to me right then and there, it's special off the rip. Then once I get into my recording process and start building, it's like hella layers, right? Like you know what I when I'm creating a song, and the first layer is like knocking out the first big chunk of whatever like the meat is. Maybe it's a verse and a hook or something like that, and then we go through and do all the drops in it, or put some singing through it, or we play a song
Wow.
in the middle of the podcast.
Cued the song with that. That was kind of
Um,
fire. I have no idea.
But once it
Extra that,
starts getting these layers, and I know it's heading into a special place, when things start coming together, then it becomes like kind of like almost like coveted to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know we're getting something special, and then it starts. I just naturally start caring about it more, and then everything is just like a little bit. All of a sudden, this thing that was $2.99 on the street becomes like your favorite thing that's invaluable to you now. It was worth nothing. It was a mixtape beat before you got it. And now all of a sudden I said some fire shit on it, and there's just something special that happened the way it said, and now I know this is going to be a moment when people listen back to it. So now I'm like, oh, this is going to add a lot of value to my career because people are listening. So I get excited about it. So to answer your question, almost everything is treated the same, as far as how I approach it. And then once it starts getting to like all these layers, these checkpoints, when I know I'm like probably like, if there's 20 checkpoints in a song and I'm getting to like 12 and 13, I'm starting to get excited.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we get to 6 and 7, maybe it burns out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I know it's getting there and it's going to be a finished song, I get excited.
Right.
So
Yo,
yeah.
you're my eyes like what from what I noticed, like looking at your catalog, is like you're definitely a lyricist. Like there's a lot of game. Like you're crazy with the lyrics. There's like kind of this battle going on between like melody and like lyrics. Like how important is one or the other to you? Like are you more concerned about what you're saying, or what do you think's more important, melody or lyrics?
So growing up, I was a melody first person by a long shot, right? If the beat was good, I'm gonna listen to the song. If the beat is not good, if I don't like the beat, I'm gonna change the song. And I didn't start off with rap. I started off with like probably 80s R&B was probably like some of like the first stuff. But my parents listened to a lot of music, so I'm listening to classic rock, and I'm listening to disco, and I'm listening to like breakdancing music, and rap too was around as well. But if the beat wasn't singing to my soul, then I'm gonna change the song. So I'm a producer first type of vibe. That helped me make really good songs, though, I feel like, because that's where my heart is now. Probably in the last 10 years, I really fell in love with writing. I didn't always used to care so much about my raps and my and what I'm saying. Early in my career, I'm just trying to fill in the space, make sure I sound cool and get through the verse until we get to the hook, and then we can relax, right? We get to the hook. But now I care about every line, and I realize that like a song can be good, and a record can like can stay in your heart, in your playlist, right? But what you say can keep a relationship with a person, a fan, in for an infinite amount of time. Like you can be connected with somebody because of something you said.
That's game.
I don't know if that can't happen with a beat, with a composition, but it's not the same when you share something that hits home with somebody and you say something. I just realized, at some point that Jay-Z was one of the first rappers that made me listen through a beat that I didn't like because I wanted to hear what he said on it, because he's sharing information that is giving me game. He's giving me value. shit that I've never heard before.
It's the power of speech.
Erica Badu, is somebody that was. I didn't learn how to be vulnerable, or I didn't learn how to be insecure and be okay with it from my parents. I learned that from Erica Badu. Like, I learned to be like, everybody's insecure and it's okay. Now, if you like, you can wear it and be cool about it, because we know that everyone goes through it. If you don't go through it, you're lying. Like, it's a human thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I say that to say, through her words, taught me how to grow as a human being, right? And that happened tons of times through other things. That's just an example. But those moments taught me how powerful these words are. So I'm connected to her. I'm indebted to her. My game and like who I am is responsible for the words that were spoken over these records. So now, you know, I almost think the words are more important, but they're not though. It's a marriage, like they're both equally. To answer your question, I don't think one thing trumps the other, but I'm in love with both parts of them.
Yeah, it's about balance, right, and harmony.
Yeah, lyrics and
Right.
melody got cohesion. Man, I like me personally. I really, I like melodies, and that kind of comes natural. But like, tongue is everything, bro. Like, your words, that's how we understand. Even if you're having a conversation with yourself in your head, like, words are everything. And if we start taking the meaning away from words, or like adding confusion to what things mean, it soils your perception to understand. And it's your words, bro. You got to stand on those, because I hear some things I see, like on the Breakfast Club or whatever. They're putting like people on blast, like, bro, what they're like bringing up lyrics, you know what I mean? Like, bro, you said this, like, this shit sounds crazy. Did you mean this? And then people are like, I didn't say that. They're like, no, you did say this. Look right here. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there is something there. Like, man, the tongues is everything in my mind. Like, melody, that just kind of comes natural when you've been doing it for a while. You're just on beat, on. But then what are you gonna say though? So like, yeah, I'm appreciative whenever I can hear somebody really being aware of their tongue and what they're saying and how they're articulating, and the cleverness and whatnot behind it. And you got that on lock for sure, bro.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Melody, as far as like vocally, like, or melody coming from an artist perspective, not just melody like as in the beat, but people that speak melody into their songs. That's a language on itself, and people that do it well and do it right, like that's an incredible feat as well. Some people, like, to pick the right melodies and stay in a certain pattern and make you feel so at home. You know what I mean? Like, you feel so comfortable. Those records that sometimes these records, they don't make you do anything because they're so comfortable, and you don't even realize how great they are. They just feel so in pocket, but because they never make your ears perk up or anything like that. That's how perfect they are. And it's almost like an unseen, like, accomplishment. Like, I hate to use, because of his history, but R. Kelly, man, like, he's probably this crazy unsung hero about how great his melodies are, and what melodies he chose, to pick in the scales. Instead of, you can go so many different ways, you can go so many different octaves, but to pick the certain ones that always hit, and the all ones that always are just so easy to sing back for all of us, and you get them right every time. Like, that's an amazing talent.
Yeah, even like a lot of today's R&B artists go back and sample like even just the melody. They might not even sample, like, the beat might not be sampled from an old school R&B song, but the melody of the way the artist is singing is like they take that and then they reinvent it and use it and put their own twist on it.
Hell
know?
yeah. I see
Like,
that happen all the time.
yeah.
That hack that's a big hack right now.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
How long you been doing this shit? What got you started off, and what did it look like? Were you at home with like a tape recorder or something, or?
Yeah, we did all that. My sister had like a little karaoke machine and it had a dual cassette. And at one point,
How old were you?
probably like 9, 10, 11,
Oh shit.
messing around somewhere at that level. I remember us having a camcorder as kids, and we're making videos where we're, kind of rapping and acting and, just being creative and being nerds as kids. I'm the oldest of a family of three. Our cousin used to stay with us, depending on what year it was. So four of us sometimes. And, my parents were really young. So they kind of, were letting us do whatever the fuck we want. So we're just some like little, little kids kind of just being creative, doing whatever. And our parents listened to all the cuss word music. So we just heard everything. So we were kind of just creatures of like consumers, I guess. All the MTVs, all the Nickelodeons, all the new songs. Like we just listened to them all. So we were just copycatting, whatever we saw. So um, when I saw, let's say, House Party. I'm a little bit older than you guys, so the movie House Party, Kid and Play, they wanted to be rappers in the movie. That was cool to me, So when it showed him rapping in his pen, or in his paper with his pen, I used to have journals. I would write raps in. I remember in third grade we did like a in music class we had like we were doing a rap, and I wrote the whole class's rap that we all rapped, for the whole class. It was so easy for me. Like just rhyming words was super easy. And I still don't think I'm like a great rapper. I've learned to be a pretty good. Like I wear it now. Like I'm a better. I think I used to not be a great rapper, but even back then I'm just rhyming words and I'm staying on beat. But comparatively to everybody else, like I wrote like 2 pages, like fast, and the music teacher's like, "Yep, this will do." Like everyone learns it. We sing it for our end of the year program. But
That's sick.
8, 9, 10, probably messing around with my sister's karaoke machine, making bad tapes. Then I remember my dad getting like some Casio keyboard where we figured out how to kind of like layer up like the sounds, but it was really janky. We would take like a kick drum and put a kick for like 3 minutes on the tape, or as the tape was rolling,
Yeah.
and we just do it freehand. Then we would swap the tapes, rewind it, and now that tape's going, and then we put like a melody or a snare or something like that while we did it freehand for 3 minutes, and then we'd swap the tape again and re-record it. So now, by the time we have four instruments, there's such a loud white noise hiss because it's gone taped over, this many times.
Yeah.
But now we've made
That's
like a
wild.
little tiny beat. But we were so happy and so juiced up about it because like we made this. Like this was like, it was so cool to us. Um, so doing that, and then I think like maybe when I was 15, um, I was with one of my friends and I heard, I overheard a song that was made by somebody. He ended up being kind of my mentor. Um, his name's Cody Johnson. He ended up being the first son of Lewis Johnson, which was the bass player for the Brothers Johnson. The Brothers Johnson was an old funk group that wrote for Quincy Jones. So like all of the the big Quincy Jones songs, so like Michael Jackson Thriller or Michael McDonald, I keep forgetting, which is like the Regulators original beat.
Oh
Big
yeah.
records. He was the bass player, which was pretty much the superstar position for back in for R&B music in the 80s. The bass player was the guy, right? Like the bass player was like,
Yeah. Yeah. The groove.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those.
So he was a superstar. So I didn't know that. I overheard this song being played, and it's like a G-funk song. It sounded like a Dog Pound song, from like a Death Row song. And I was really into West Coast music. I'm hearing this song, and I found out it was somebody that it was somebody that I knew. I didn't know him, but he knew somebody that I knew. It was like two people removed made this. I never even heard anybody make professional music before, and I just remembered like that changed my world. Like I had to go meet who this kid was. I went and tracked him down. I was like, man, I heard what you did. Like he said, what are you talking about? I was like,
You
man,
were
I know it.
15.
Yeah, he's older than me. He's probably like 5, 6 years older than me. So he's, I used to know that he used to go to the open gym when we would go play basketball. So, and I knew who he was. I didn't know he did that stuff. I didn't know who he was until I started unraveling it all. But his mom, was a singer in that group too. And I know those records because I know like old school music, right? All of a sudden, I know who his parents are, and I know the songs that they played in the songs that they sang. And I know she sang in the background of like some of my favorite old school songs. I'm like, wait a minute, this kid lives a town down from me, and he's making this music. I know his parents are like, this is crazy. To me, that is a huge light bulb moment in my life, in my career, because now it becomes real to me. Now it's just not stuff I see on TV. It's someone doing it, in real life. So I go track this kid down, and actually so I was maybe 15. He was, probably like 19 at the time or something like that, which is in those years is a lot older. For me to go up to an older kid like that, I was
Yeah,
like, hey,
when you're that age.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, but I was very intentional about making sure I met this guy and let him know that I know what he's doing. Like, and what I mean by that is like it was very high level. Like the bass lines that he was playing and the chord progressions and the drum sequencing and the mix and stuff like that. Like what was going on, I knew already like what was going on, and I was like, hey, like I told him the song was crazy, like that's dope, but I also like in so many words was letting him know like I know you, like you're not normal. How
Yeah.
can I be around you?
Yeah.
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 I'm not going anywhere. What are we doing? He was
Yeah.
big into church. From that point on, I went to church every day for 2 years. Like
Yeah.
on
That's where
on
you're at.
everything.
That's where I'm at.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
That's I'm pulling up to. I'm like hanging out with him every day because like the universe, God, whatever you want to say. My intuition was like, this is my mentor now. Like this is what I love. I know like he knows how to do it, and that was the start of that was
Wow.
my first little music group. Like that where I found music outside of like on TV.
What year was this around?
I think like 99,
Yeah.
somewhere around that.
Wow.
When did shit kind of get like serious and start like kind of popping off for you?
So I lived in a small town in Oregon, on the Oregon coast. I was born around here. All my family's from around here. My pops, I think, just getting in trouble and kind of just not figuring out. He had me like my mom was 16, my dad was 19 when they had me. They moved out of Seattle to get out of the city and went to a small town to work for my uncle. We lived in a small town. Now, after I got out of school on the Oregon coast, I moved down to Eugene for a couple years. Down to, go Ducks. Nah, go Huskies, but go Ducks too.
Yeah.
And I went to school down there for a couple years. But my main objective down there was was to start a rap group. As corny as it sounds, I'm fresh out of my parents' house. I'm on the hunt to
What was the group name?
my first group's name was called The Option.
Option.
Like,
fire.
It's kinda
like
cold
like
outside,
The Option.
right?
It was cold.
That's
Yeah.
fire.
And there was four of us, and it was kind of like back in the day when you just get shit off the ground. It's like whoever's around, it's kind of like, oh, you want to be in it too? Let's go. Type shit.
Yeah.
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 It was four of us, and we went around, causing havoc for a couple of years in that group or in that town. And I was the producer, and we had some rappers. One of them could sing a little bit. One of them was like a real wordsmith. One of them was like a bad boy. He's beating everybody up. Like we had kind of like this kind of tough reputation because of one of them, but it was a very well-rounded rap situation. So. Running around there for a few years, doing rap shit, hustling, learning.
Were you in high school at this time?
No, fresh out of high school. So
Oh.
first years of college,
Oh.
learning how to get money on my own, like all those type of years, being very, very impressionable, as far as, being out away from your parents, type vibes. So did that for a couple years, moved back up to Seattle after that, and came onto the scene, not really knowing anybody, but just knowing, that I was kind of the big dog in Eugene for a couple years with my group. Left all that. We had like some things popping. I think DJ Quick came out his manager came out to try to sign us and, do a couple things. It probably really wasn't like that big of a deal, but to us at the time, it was like major things. And as far as in that small town, we were buzzing. But I dropped everything and left the group, came up, dolo bolo, and just kind of started over and just started weaving my way through the city a little bit and just try to start figuring out who was doing what, who was popping, who I needed to kind of like align myself with, who I needed to learn with. I'm still at this part of the game. I'm still so far away from becoming who I am today. Um, I'm thinking I'm a big dog producer down there, and then I'm coming up here, and then there's just just tons of amazing producers. Like I'm nobody, so I'm starting fresh. Just trying to figure out where I belong. Um, so let's see here.
Did you at that point have a bunch of records out already, or were you still? How many records did you have out?
We had an option album that we put out, and then I came up. We had one option album, and then like maybe some mixtapes. Excuse me. The mixtapes were like a big deal back then. I think G Unit and all those guys were like doing all these mixtapes. So there's a whole bunch of mixtapes. But we actually pressed up an option album. That was in a case. I went to whatever the big manufacturing was. And the mix was really good. The songs were horrible. We wasn't rapping about shit. I had a Triton keyboard I made all the beats on at the time. I thought that shit was clean. It's very cringy going back to
That's what I was gonna ask you too. Is your guys' production? Was that all you, or
It was all
you
me.
were doing all the
I did
production?
all the production on it. I made all the beats.
And so how are you doing? You're doing on this keyboard?
I would sequence everything in a Triton. I was making my mentor that I was telling you about that I met. His name was Mr. Johnson. The one I was telling you about. He was our producer. He was a amazing, crazy, talented producer. So I got to be around him, during those high school years, watching him make beats. So I learned how to do it just by hanging around him. He made such good beats that I never even needed to make any beats. Like his tracks were crazy. Like they were so far ahead. But then when I moved away, I didn't have him next to me, so I started making beats. I knew how to do it, and I liked it, and I was having fun with it. So it was a knack for me. I got rear-ended in my Honda Accord. I got the insurance money. Instead of buying another car, I bought a keyboard instead. I didn't drive no more, but I had
Major
a keyboard.
investment.
Priorities,
I
right?
had a
Hell
keyboard.
yeah.
I lived
Major
in
investment.
a small ass apartment. There was like four of us in a 2-bedroom apartment, and then I had the keyboard set up in the kitchen. There was nowhere to eat. A big ass 88 key, big ass Triton keyboard.
So you were rocking all sounds out of the board?
Mm-hmm.
So all just stock sounds. How many sounds were on the board? Like, I'm just curious, producer wise.
There was a lot. I mean, for that keyboard it was like a $3,000 keyboard at the time, which was a lot of money. It was like a Honda. You know what I'm saying? A Honda cost.
Yeah.
I would take that. I would sequence and build it all out. And you like stereo track it onto a CD, or and then we would write to it, or we would just sit there and play the beat and we write to it, and then we load it into a Pro Tools session or whatever DAW we were working in, and we'd rock like that. And let's see, I used to have to track it out. I used to have to play each instrument one by one for like 4 minutes.
Yep.
Line them up, all the things.
The
then
whole
line 'em
song
up.
worth,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. It was
Each
crazy.
instrument.
Yeah.
And record each one?
Yeah, which was ridiculous, right? Take all that time just so you can have control to mix.
Yeah.
And all this time, is trial and error. Like the mixes, I'm thinking that they're fire, but they're not that great. I'm learning, through trial and error, what's working and what's not. So, but I was working with pretty good engineers at the time, so it wasn't always horrible, but comparatively to where we're at now, it's just so far away. But so I'm making all the beats for my group. Come up here. I'm pretty seasoned with the beats by then. I got like 4 or 5 years of beats, making beats under my belt. I start kind of getting with some local artists, kind of just supporting and befriending artists around here. And Messy Marv from San Francisco was somebody that was on my radar. He was making gangsta music, and he was like one of the only ones that was kind of making West Coast music at the time, where it sounded like good, fresh West Coast music. I come from a West Coast background because I'm an '80s R&B guy, right? I like all these old school ass songs, and all these West Coast songs are pretty much taken from old R&B,
Sampled.
70s and 80s, yeah, all samples. So I traditionally like West Coast music. But now all of a sudden, this is the era of like Kanye West and Just Blaze. Everything is Rockefeller, sped up samples, which I loved. I loved that era, and they did it well. But this Messy Marv dude, he's making a brand of West Coast music that is sounding fresh. Because all the West Coast guys, they started sounding dusty. All of a sudden, like this, like it's sounding like, I don't even know how to explain it. It just sounded like old and washed up.
Just got played out. Yeah.
It was played out,
Compared to
right?
that.
And so you were either having the sped up sample joints, which was hot, Dipset or whatever it was, or you were kind of not doing anything like that. But this guy from San Francisco, he had a West Coast sound that was just sounding fresh, and I just remember falling in love with it. And now in retrospect, he was kind of like staying close to like '80s music is really why it was fresh sounding. So I got to really fall in love with this guy's music. Um, and I ended up reaching out to him to do a song at some point, and I also reached out to Nipsey Hussle to do the same song, and so I ended up getting on the song, doing a song for for a project of mine with Nipsey Hussle and Messy Marv, and I started a relationship with Messy Marv where we started working together, and I submitted some beats to him, and he fucked with them. So now I'm making beats for Messy Marv, which was a big deal for me because I hadn't worked with anybody that was on a really high level yet. And he was pretty well known. But not only was he well known, I really, really liked this guy's sound. Like, he was like my favorite rapper at the time. So that was a big deal for me as far as my career. I'm kind of a nobody in Seattle. Now I'm making beats for Messy Marv. You know, he's a very Messy Marv is a very underground, regional type of sound. So not everybody knew who he was, but to me, that was like my Jay-Z at the time. Yeah.
So you got here and you really got into production. You were doing more production type stuff than even like rapping or singing or getting on vocally, getting on records.
So I was making. So when I moved up here, I made a solo album. I made a solo album. I made two. I made two solo albums. They were kind of like mixtape-ish, whatever you want to call it. But they were like 12 songs and 18 songs. So it was a good body of work. But it just didn't feel special to me after I made them, right? Like I'm just taking swings at the process. I just know I just got to keep doing this, right? Like as an artist, every time you do something, you think like, this is gonna be the one. This is gonna be the one. This is gonna change the world.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that, there's something wrong with you. You kind of gotta.
You gotta believe that.
You gotta
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
that. So, I'm doing that, and then after the songs, after the shits come out, I'm just like, I'm looking back at it like, man, maybe this isn't the thing. Maybe I don't got it, as far as being a rapper. And because I knew in my heart I wasn't a strong rapper in my group. The production was what everybody fucked with me for, right? So I tried to shift and become more of like, I'm gonna be a producer, and not the rapper, and started, try to shop my beats and did the Messy Marv thing. And then after I got some Messy Marv credits, I started getting a lot of other opportunities to sell beats to people. And so I did become more producer based and started doing that for a while, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was important that you put out so much music though? Like my real question for you is like, do you think that since the barrier to entry is so much lower than it was previously? Because you got hustle, right? And not a lot of artists have that. Not a lot of artists are willing to just get up every single day and go and chase it. We live in a world where people want, instant gratification, right? They want results faster than the process allows. Do you feel like if you could go back, you would have kind of done things the same way, like just kept putting out records, like, or do you think like you would have been more? I don't know. What would you change? I guess is my question. What would you, if you would?
I probably shouldn't be here making music. Like, that's how not good I feel like I was. But my passion was so fucking enormous. Like, there was nothing else in my mind. I still sometimes I don't know like what like my best talent is. I don't know if it's, just me being able to work through things, or just my hustle is, or making songs or rapping or making beats. I think I'm better at making songs than making beats. You know, I can take somebody else's beat, you know, and still create a beautiful song over it. You know, make it better. But me, to answer your question, I couldn't do anything differently. It took me all those times, you know, doing it over and over and over again to get good as how good I am now. And now, like, I feel like I'm good enough to be in the room with greats.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I didn't used to be great, right? I had to really work my ass off to be there. But you know, I got so many hours,
Yeah,
logged
10,000.
in. Yeah, no, I got like 50,000,
Yeah,
Real
come.
shit. Yeah.
right?
How many songs
Yeah.
do you think you got?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't make a lot of songs. Like, comparatively to like the way people make music now, because I know like cats that be rapping, they be making hella songs. So I don't got that many songs, and I didn't write a lot, but I just kept like as far as beats and learning
Yeah.
and trying to mix records and group projects and trying to help people do their song and being a producer. Like I've gone to war with this damn Pro Tools DAW, a million times. Just so I needed to do that over and over again and figure out what the artwork looks like. Where do we package this thing? How come the kick's not sounding right? What is it? What's wrong with this? Or like all these little tiny things in the process. To learn the whole recipe, right? Like I know the recipe now.
Yeah.
Like I've done it so many times. Um, I can do it with my eyes closed now at any part of the game. Like, you can pop me in at I can walk into a studio session with anybody and I can, find a way to bring value somewhere,
Make something happen there.
yeah, whether it be a writer, an engineer, giving a verse. I don't even have to be on the song and I'm going to figure
Yeah.
out, where to bring value into the process.
Yeah, that kind of brings me to this question too. Did you ever have a period of time where you were just songwriting, not producing or being an artist, where you're just writing
No,
songs for other people? Or
I don't think my songwriting skill was ever strong enough to just be someone that just was a songwriter. So I definitely, maybe be like a idea guy. Well, a Messy Marv. I used to sit in a room with Shay, rest in peace, Shay Black, and we would write hooks and we'd send them to him. And one of the biggest songs, maybe I am a songwriter. One of the biggest songs that we had, it's a Filthy Rich diss song. It's called "I'm Right Here." It was supposed to be originally a diss song for Too Short. I pretty much wrote the hook, and Shay sang it. And I remember pacing back and forth just trying to get it right. And it was written for Messy Marv. Um, Messy Marv's tagline that year was like pink piss because he was drinking rosé, bottles of rosé, and he always like pink piss was his tagline. And I wrote the line, I've been pissing
fire,
rosé all year, I'm right here. I wrote that hook, had Shay sing it, we sent it to him, and he was like, and that was the song, and it was a hit.
fire.
So, I didn't songwrite for a lot of people, but I wrote a couple songs then.
Yeah,
Yo,
fire.
when did the relationship with Miles happen? Milo, most people know him by. You, when did you guys start like the artist engineer
Yeah, so
thing there?
Milo is my current engineer, and we've been working for probably 6, 7 years now, pretty closely. I think we got really going on the first BBS Diaries. Now, I used to go by AD for a long time, and I kind of took a break from rapping, um, and just went hardcore producing and went to work for Black Umbrella, which was a label here in Seattle. And their lead guy was name was Raz Simone, and he had a deal with 300, and he had a really good situation out here where there was a lot of good artists in the town that were underneath that whole faction, and I was excited about it. And so I opted to kind of put my thing on hold and come over there and try to help be a role player because I saw a lot of good opportunity. Fatal Luciano and King Lee's and I think Romero Francois. There was a lot of artists
Dave
that were,
B.
yeah. I don't think Dave was over there. Dave wasn't over there, but um, artists that I admired, looked up to, and that were just great artists to me. They could rap me, under the table. I was like, oh, man, I gotta get over there and learn to, to get in where I fit in. Be a producer or whatever. And so I sat down with Raz, and and I kind of just, let him give him the spiel. This is what I do. This is what I can bring. He was like, yeah. He was with it. he told me he wanted me to come on as a rapper too. Like, you know, I kind of had a Kanye thing going where like my production was probably a little bit more valued than my rapping, but I was kind of kept squeezing my raps, you know, in
Mm.
there, you know, when nobody was asking me. And he was like, "No, like, come on." So I took a break from rapping, became a producer, DJ over there, and you know, kind of quality control. I was helping, you know, with like kind of artwork concepts and things like that, and just like learning and traveling, you know, with them for a few years. And so I did that, and after that kind of spiel, I rebranded. I had learned so much after just kind of, you know, traveling the globe a couple times. We went on tour, you know, a handful of times, and I've been in so many different rooms now. Because I wasn't a rapper and because I was a DJ, you know, I pose no threat. Everyone's, you know, I walk around, I'm the DJ. Oh yeah, come on in, or yeah,
Yeah.
here's your pass. Do whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, no one gives a fuck. So I started getting in all these rooms and making friends with people, and just getting all my alliances up. And I had just learned so much through those years. I just knew it was time, you know, to do it again. And I rebranded, and that's when, you know, I came out instead of AD, I came out as Anthony Danza. And then when I came back out, I started off with BBS Diaries 1. And that's when me and Milo started working. So Milo has been at the begin. It started with me from the beginning of my rebrand as Anthony Danza, and so that was like maybe 2017, 18 ish, 2018, I think.
How do you guys actually meet though?
So someone dragged me up to a studio up in, where was it?
Lake
talking about Soto?
Stevens,
Lake
or
Stevens.
he
Oh,
was
Lake
in Lake
Stevens?
Stevens, yeah,
Ah,
north.
that was back
Um,
at the OG
yeah.
Milo spot. Yeah.
So I think a dude named Brandon, he was managing another artist, and he wanted to get me on a feature with him. So he brings me up there. Milo's the engineer. We make the song. I think at the time they asked me to come up and be on the feature. At the end of the night, Milo's asking who's paying for this. These guys don't even pay the studio. Like, I gave him some money. I'm like, all right. He's like, I don't even know what's going on here, but
They were just trying to flee off of it.
I don't even know what their situation was. But I just remember paying for the studio session that night, and I was asked to come up to do a feature, you know, for somebody, which I was like, you know, giving a free feature off the rip. So like I was already doing double, you know. But anyway,
Yeah.
that was the universe bringing me my engineer. So I met Milo that night. And it wasn't like no crazy shit like, oh, it was love at first sight, we made magic. It was a cool, it was an okay session. I don't even think I ever heard the song. They never even let me hear it. I don't even think the song
Damn,
got
that's
finished.
crazy.
Song didn't even get finished. And then I honestly don't even remember how we got
Like actually locked in.
locked in again. But I remember from before, and I was just in a transitional period where I think I was recording at Undercast, and they just wouldn't let me get any more than like 3 hours at a time or something like that. And it was so hard to book with them because
Oh, they were so booked.
they were always so booked, and they didn't book too much in for one person at a time. Like they make sure they're available for all their clients, right? Like they wouldn't let me go like, oh, let me get all day on Tuesday, Friday,
How many
Saturday.
engineers did they have at that studio?
I think 4 or 5, and I liked all.
4 or 5 rooms too, or how many?
No, there's
just
only
one
one
room.
room,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh wow, so they're
But
really booked.
Milo was just so much more flexible for me, and he was just starting out his thing, and so it just worked well for me. And I was kind of in a space, as long as he technically knew what he was doing, I knew where I wanted to go as far as the mix goes. And we kind of rock like that now too. Like I steer him where I want to go most of the time. He just makes sure that, you know, we're not redlining, or we're not like, you know, like mathematically like doing anything that's wrong, you know. That's
Yeah.
fucking up
The
the
engineer
mix.
side.
Yeah, but he's pretty good about letting me color, you know, where I wanna
That's
color
awesome.
at. And that was perfect for me because
Yeah.
I didn't need to go anywhere after that.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah, I enjoy working with them. Same type of deal where you can kind of get your hands in it enough. Some engineers get offended, or I mean, as an artist, you got to know how to communicate too. You had a certain level of experience prior where and you really knew what you wanted. Yeah, that's what's up. Shoot.
How do you I keep asking like production questions, just producer
Yeah,
producers
producer
producer stuff. Yeah. How do you feel the production over the years has changed, and do you like the way that production is now, where it's so easy and simple, like not necessarily simple, but simple for a producer, like it's easy for a producer to hop on and throw a loop and just start dropping
Yeah,
samples and kits and stuff,
no,
like
for sure.
how's
You know,
that to you?
you know, I think it's great because it gives access to people, to create faster. It kind of hurts a little bit because the older producers had to put so much work in to like figure out these like little secrets and these little hacks. Like a lot. I had to sometimes just loop up a sample, where the timing was right. Like sometimes it took years to figure out a good process to do it. Getting something in key, like you had to really do it by ear. Pitch shifting, like, things like that. Like all these things that took so much trial and error and over making shitty beats and figuring out and asking questions and people telling you, hey, big homie producers being like, hey, your bass line's not is out of key, or all these things to refine yourself. Now it's like you stem things out in Serato and you dump it, you dump something, layer something on top of each other, and it matches everything in key
Yeah,
perfectly. Like that's amazing. You don't have to do
dude.
anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's really cool though, because um it makes for better music, right? Like it's making so you can't fuck that up. But all I think that's gonna do is it's just gonna raise the tide. All the boats will go up, and everybody's kind of like up in this higher zone of quality. Now you got to make super 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 fire
easier to
shit.
get to that caliber now.
If you ever make
Yeah,
something where it's out of key, you're really fucked up.
For real.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a
yeah,
gift and a curse too though, right? Cuz I mean, think about how, for example, Chat GPT coming out, right? And all of these kids don't got to read the dictionary anymore cuz they can just ask Chat GPT, what does this word mean, right? But you miss out on all of this information, and looking at it with your own eyes and flipping through the pages. That's how the human body has retained information for so long, right?
Yeah.
But since, that's such an easy thing, it's like, kids in the future probably are not going to know a whole bunch of shit, unless they take the advantage that is presented to them, right? Because what you're saying, right, is it's so much faster to take care of things, to pitch things, EQ things. To where, at that point, if it's faster, right, you should be able to increase your turnover, right? And it's like the same thing. So I think it is kind of a crazy phenomenon. One question I wanted to ask you, that I was holding on to was, I'm sure you've had your fair share of dark days, as passionate as you are about the music and as much success as you've been able to garner for yourself. I'm sure there were days where you weren't sure it would work. And maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm right, how did you get through those days? I like, artist to artist, right? The viewers watching, they want to hear things like that. I would love to know as well.
You know what? That's
that's
kind of a
that's
crazy.
a tough one. I feel like
Like
if I was asked that, I'd be like,
when you get down, how do you pull your
Yeah.
Yeah,
how
yeah.
do you
How
encourage
you still
yourself?
get up and put
Yeah.
your pants on every day? You know what I'm saying? And go get
that's
to
a
it.
tough one.
No, I never even thought about that because and now it's easier than now that I think about it, but it's just weird because I never even thought about that. I've never ever wanted to be nothing else than involved with music. Like you know I've been so adamant about that. So there's never been a thing where I ever woke up and I was like, it's done. There was a time where I told myself, if I'm not popping by 30, um, then I'm gonna do something else.
I said the same shit to
Um,
myself.
and I think 30 came and I fucking laughed that shit off and fucking never even said anything remotely close to that again. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was, in my
Still the
mind,
same
I was
person.
like,
Yeah.
like I don't even know what the fuck I was thinking. Um, for a couple different reasons. For one, like I wasn't even close to being, being mature to even make a, what the fuck is 30? Like,
Yeah.
but also, like this is what makes me happy. Like popping or not, like
Facts.
to me, I'm popping to some people, and to me, I still am not. I haven't popped yet. I'm still like, I think I got somewhere else to go. So, that definition is relative, right? But I've
Absolutely.
realized that this is something that I love creating.
Regardless,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, and like this is what I like spending my time doing. And it's like playing 3-on-3 basketball. It's like we come to the court, we don't get paid to do this. People meet here at a certain time of day, and we just show up. Everyone else has got their families or their lives and stuff, their day jobs, but everyone meets at this fucking court and plays hoops together, right? And some people, like they get in fights because they're so passionate about these fucking games that you play. Like my music to me is just like that, meeting at the park. We're not getting paid here to do this shit. I just show up and I'm here to fucking display my skills and sauce on you guys to show you, to show you,
Simple as
that.
Gotta
that.
ball out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like
That's a clip.
y'all don't know how much time I've been shooting at the park by myself and doing the Kobe moves and
Straight
doing
up.
and then working on my handles. Like you don't like I've been doing this more than y'all. Like it's kind of like my attitude, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
And the truth too.
that's how I feel about music too. It's like I'm making it because I love it, but also like we're here to sauce on each other. It's like wearing clothes too. It's like when you make it out of there and you show somebody your shit. You know what I'm saying? How does it look? What you feel like? You like the way I wear
Yeah.
it? Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like and you're kind of
fire.
like expressing yourself. And I'm very prideful about that shit. I'm very competitive, very competitive. And I'm okay with losing too. But I love being in that
In the game.
in that
Yeah.
competitive space. I love that shit.
It's fire.
Damn. Are you still producing your own records, or you got someone doing production for you now?
So now I have so many good producers that are like right on the nose of what I'm looking for. So like it helps free up my bandwidth to like make records, like write more. So a lot lately, the last couple albums, I haven't been producing that much, but um, I produced a joint on this last tape that I'm working on. And it's fire. I love it just as much as any of the other ones. Sometimes I usually whatever I do produce, I end up loving it just as much or more than anything else. But I don't feel like I'm the best producer, out of all the producers that I work with. These guys are amazing. These guys fucking, the level of beat making has gone up crazy. But I'm still figuring out a way to, make something that makes my ears perk up and be like, oh, this is fire. Like,
Yeah. The love
So-
for making beats.
yeah. So I'm trying to I'm trying. I get a lot of people that are. I've been posting like stuff that I produced for for older people, especially like a lot of my Messy Mars stuff because it's been so long now. A lot of people don't know that I did those records, so I post all these records and everybody's like, "Damn, I didn't know you made beats and this and that." Like, and then
It's
people,
new to me. Yeah, I just finding this out
Right,
after
right.
seeing same type of thing.
And so, I got guys getting in my DMs, even bigger artists, like, hey, I'd love to get an EP produced by you and this and that. And I get nervous because fuck, I ain't made a lot of beats, and I get worried like, man, I ain't got no fucking heat to send them.
Dude,
Like,
that's
yeah.
that's one thing people ask me, oh, send me a pack. People say to me all the time, like, send me a pack. Dude, I don't have a pack, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm producing stuff like exclusive just on my own will most of the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I get the inspiration or when I feel like I want to create,
Yeah.
like I'll create like I'll make a beat for exclusive for an artist if they're asking, like,
Yeah.
if it's being asked for, or if they're trying to buy a beat, then I'll make it for an artist specifically. But it's not just like I have like a bunch of,
I feel the same way. I'm not the hot and ready guy. Like has like the beat that just sounds like. At some point, I feel like after the super producers, like when Just Blaze kind of like bulldozed his way through the game, there was like producers that came out after him. That these beats were so fucking good and so big and so many tags on them, like they sounded like full done productions by themselves.
Seriously,
These beats
yeah.
are so good, right? I'm not that producer. Like I'm somebody that like has a pretty good beat, but we gotta go carve this bitch out. We probably gotta add
Yep.
some shit to it. We gotta break it down, or it needs to be filled. Like Just Blaze Productions would sound so huge and so triumphant and so finished off that like he made a generation of producers that like their packs are fucking already like
Well,
good to
dude,
go
that's
to
like,
fucking
Seriously.
to set up
Real shit,
to
yeah.
go to streaming.
yeah.
Like we don't even need rapping on this.
For
The way they
real.
fucking
Yeah.
sounded, they're slapping. They're done.
Well, that's like the avenue that YouTube created for producers is like they make money off of done productions. That's how they make their money. They're not in there. They're a lot of like there's just YouTube producers, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole that's a whole genre of producers that just make beats just for YouTube, just to sell them right there, and then they don't work directly with the artist.
All the guys that I work with now, like if I'm producing for somebody or like somebody wants me to produce for them, what I'll tell them, I was like, go find the beats that you want to rap to and rap the songs. I was like, we'll make the music. Like we'll
Yeah.
swap the music out and figure out what to make under them. But it's just too easy to go on YouTube and type in exactly what you're looking for. There's so many fucking good producers out there, and
Absolutely.
they're fire to go hone in exactly what you want. So they'll find the beat that they want on YouTube and go rap to it and get inspired and make it. And then I'll usually go behind them. Now that's kind of my process. So we don't have to flip through shit, and then find the exact beat that they need to be inspired. Like, man, get inspired, shit, to whatever brings it out of you. And then, I usually go back through and build something around it. It's kind of like, what I like
Yeah.
to do.
Reverse
Yep.
engineer, kind of.
Dude, you're finding your own lane when you're looking up beats on YouTube, and none of the beats that you're finding match what you want, like your sound. Like you could work on one type beat for a while, and it works, but then your sound develops, and then you're looking up YouTube beats and none of them match what you picture in your head. That should be a good thing,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's how I am. Like,
Yeah.
I got like the guy who produced the record I played for you earlier, right? I initially built that relationship with him off YouTube. Now he sends me like packs every once in a while and stuff. But I've listened to like all his beats on YouTube, and out of all of them, I found like 4 of them that I like, right? And I think that's, like you said, it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? How important is it to you, like, that you produce? Is it something that like that you do, like kind of how Bailey said, when you feel inspired, or is it something that you don't really do just as often in general?
No, it's very important to me. I feel like I produce in every song that I create. Like even if I'm not producing a beat,
Sure.
like I'm producing in every song. Like w- whether I'm breaking it down, breaking a part of the beat down, or listening to a certain part that needs a certain type of arrangement or something like that. Like my beat making skills and my arranging skills are are being calculated when I'm listening to every beat or creating every
Absolutely.
song. So I always say that my song making ability is more finite than my beat making ability. Like me making songs and all that shit kind of helped to work up to that. Like I'm making songs out here.
Yeah.
So what's up then? You got an album or something you're working on? Tapes, EPs, singles? Anything looking forward to?
Tons of stuff, and I doing these internet interviews, I don't know whatever's gonna come out, so I'm just gonna say it like this. BBS Diaries 1 and 2, those are what you want to get started with Danza. They're, old school, like a ode to all 80s flips. And uh, then work your way through the catalog. I got a group project coming out with Jay Stalin and Young Doe that'll be really dope. That's coming out real soon.
Fire.
I've been talks with Cocaine to do an EP with the Godfather of G Funk with Cocaine. I did a tape with Bodie James that should come out at the end of this year. I got all kinds of shit, man, coming out. But just start with them BBS Diaries tapes, and then just start working your way through my catalog. My catalog is there's some gems in there. You gonna fuck with it.
You got a favorite record? All time favorite?
I don't. and I'm really prideful. And when I go back through my albums and listen through it, and I'm really prideful about the songs and how much TLC we put into them. And I always forget, like, man, there's some good songs on here. Like,
Yeah.
fuck,
Hours of sessions.
yeah, and just doing all the small little things, to make them stand taller through time. So, and I keep on going back and checking on them, just making sure they're not aging. Because there's been times where I go back fast and I'm like, oh shit, I don't like
Yeah.
that. But I'm to a point right now where my gauge on what I think is the bar before we step away right now is solid right now. I feel like my gauge on what's good is tolerable. So hopefully that gets strengthened and ripened as I grow and we make even better music. But right
Oh, yeah.
now I'm liking what we're doing.
Are you just as involved with the video production as well, and like the directing of that kind of the visuals and whatnot, or do you have a team you work with that directs and kind of lines up your videos and stuff for you?
I'm pretty involved, but I don't want to take anything away from the guys I work with because they're all amazing. This one right here that's going in the background.
This is at the brewery.
Truth be told,
Soda.
Yeah.
Savage.
I edited all this,
Oh, for real?
chopped it up, colored it, arranged how it was shot,
Dude, that is so sick, bro.
and produced it all. Like,
That's sick.
but a lot of my great videos, I didn't do that, but I'm definitely in talks with what the vision is and what we're doing, and as you can see, there's probably like a common theme and a cohesiveness through all my videos, and they're shot by like probably 4 or 5 different guys. So there's the common denominators.
Yeah, on brand.
Dude, y'all got the DJ booth in there?
Yeah, they were gonna
That's
pull
fire.
out that whole live ass set.
This must have been a while ago, though, huh? Because this is when he had the desk.
This was
Over by the
this
door.
was during COVID when we were not supposed to do this. I had 30 people in that room, and that was very, very much against the law.
Yeah,
Wow,
I don't
that's
see any
lit.
masks.
How many elevator trips was that?
That was so masked. That was so masked time too. Like, and it was a big deal. And yeah, that was like damn near speakeasy vibes. Like
Seriously, yeah, but it's a
Yeah.
vibe, though.
And people were trying to get
The
out then
birds, too.
too. So you that
That's
was a
perfect
gem
timing,
for
yeah.
them. Yeah.
no, it was wavy because I was able to share that with the world during COVID. I debuted it through Instagram and ran it live through my live, and we had it. I had a pre-production. I had it done already, so I planned it out like it was live, and so it was already done, and it was a live performance. It was cool, man. I was able to give my fans a real good treat. I love it because I don't have this huge following of fans, right? It's very condensed, but like what I'm able to give my fans and the Danza fans know, like what type of quality I'm giving to them. Like they're like this band of brothers that that jam high level, funk music, groovy ass, hustling music. Like they know what it is, and it's a cool kind of ring of brothers. Not women too. Like I got a lot of women fans too. They love good music, but it's a really cool
Some player shit.
it's a really cool circle of people that I'm kind
fire.
of curating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited how it's coming together.
That's what's
What do you
up.
release on right now? What distributor do you use?
Too Lost is what we're
Shout
going
out
through
Too
right
Lost.
now. Yeah, Too Lost,
Fire.
and that's a
I haven't even heard of that.
shout out. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank right now, but shout out Too Lost.
Shout out to Lost Jake, all them. Yeah, they're cool. That's
Jake,
fire.
shout out Jake.
Yeah,
For your
Jake's-
music?
Yep.
Too Lost?
Yeah,
Is that a site or is that a?
Yeah, they're a distributor. It's one of the artists that Milo records with.
Oh, okay.
You distribute through them, and they could pop out here every now and then.
Oh,
yeah,
sick.
Jake's super cool guy, super down to earth dude. One thing I wanted to ask you is what's one thing that you would want, an artist to know, or a piece of advice that you would leave for them,
What's one thing that I would want an artist to know or leave them?
Yeah, maybe about
To
the
gain
game.
success or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
to
about
be
the game
successful
in
as an artist?
general.
confidence is everything, man. I think confidence in anything is a huge cheat code. You know, if I could tell myself anything earlier, it would be more confident. I was kind of always took like this humble approach, which was a cool hack for me because I was able to be a better listener and learn more. But sometimes I feel like me being humble kind of smalled me up and sometimes didn't demand the attention and respect that I needed to make it into other rooms, right?
Facts.
So, but you can be confident without being cocky and, in blocking your blessings as well. So, definitely, I'm going to teach my son to be confident and just whatever the fuck that you like, just like, just you got to be passionate about it because you're going to have the way the world is, how it's so saturated with the internet, everybody's fighting each other for these spots, right? Like there's so much competition to be seen. And someone's gonna outwork you. So whatever it is you like, if you like eating your boogers, you better fucking
Be the best at
love
it.
it. You gotta love it because you're gonna have to eat a lot of boogers,
I
right?
think there's an industry for that, or
My son keeps eating his boogers. It's fucking disgusting. But I keep on that's the first thing I popped up. Like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Like, it's disgusting.
you're
But
killing it, bro. Like,
but what I'm saying is whatever it is you decide to do, you have to really love it because like that whole corny Instagram real process, like the process, fall in love with the process, like that shit is so real. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I've been doing the same shit over and over and over and over and over again, and I still fucking like it a lot. And if you don't like it, if you don't love it, you're gonna get burnt the fuck out, and
yeah,
you're gonna be ready to pivot to the next thing, which is not bad, but for us to try to gain traction and be seen to where we can find a way to receive value for what we're doing, like
Yeah, it takes dedication.
yeah, it takes fucking so yeah. It's really about eyeballs now because a lot of people will will grow to have talent or value to be given, but it's so saturated. How are you seen? I know all you guys are talented as fuck. There's a lot of talented people out here, but we go unrecognized because fuck, everybody's kind of talented now, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're
There's
all
so much
there's a
talent.
lot of
There's a
them,
lot of
yeah,
talent.
because
Yeah.
everybody kind of figures out how to hone in their talent and and work and get it razor sharp. Um, so now being seen is kind of the hack. So yeah, you have a lot of saturation to work against.
how do you get seen? Do you think like what? I mean, nowadays, what's the way to get yourself out there?
It changes like every 6 8 months as far as the internet goes. You have to study and you have to be a product of that, right? And you have to do what you have to kind of feel what the internet's doing to you that you like and understand. You kind of have to step outside yourself and be a third person, and understand what is the internet doing to me, why am I liking this, and what's sucking me in. And then you kind of have to
Reverse engineer it.
and then shoot ahead of the target a little bit too because it's
Facts.
going to change as you get ready to roll out, right? So you kind of have to be intuitive and enterprising at the same time. Like you kind of have to you got to hit a moving target. So you got to figure out why why is this content hitting me? Why do I like it? Figure that part of it out, and then figure out, all right, how can I mimic this? And when I say mimic, I don't mean do what they're doing, but if it's if you realize all this content, all that's coming across my feed is how to's, like how to become a better producer and how to. Okay, so I'm looking back and I'm realizing this is getting a lot of action in the algorithm because people stop and watch this stuff. And that shows, and so it shows more people. So now it's showing me that everybody around me is liking this type of content. They're liking how to stuff. They're liking, so now,
Mm-hmm.
okay, people like being taught. So now, if I want some skin on the ball, I gotta try to find a way. And this is just one example. A million ways to skin a cat, but figure out a way to teach your people something, while you're giving them the content that you have, right? And hide it in there. You gotta serve other people first, and then hide your content in there so where it's not feeling sold. When you feel like you're selling it to somebody, it's never gonna work. People are just intuitively will back the fuck up because they're afraid to be sold some shit, right?
Mm.
So I think my deal
Super game.
my deal was to try to be entertaining, and um, I know that everybody my age has seen the same shit that I have. So like when we grow up and I can kind of recollect on these old nostalgic moments and Nickelodeon shows and stuff like that, I can get on here and talk about this shit and go back and have these retro moments where we bond and then hide my music in there. And then after so many times of me sliding my music inside this content that we all bond over, pretty soon people trust me and they're like, oh shit, like I like the music. And now I'm to a point where I can just give them music now because they trust me. The brand is trusted. But at
Set.
first, I had to entertain them, right? I had to go
Game.
through like a couple vigorous years of figuring out how to entertain my people and pull them in, and then like with the slide trick of the hand, introduce my music without trying to sell it to them, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely. Dang.
That's one thing. Like you're pretty consistent on the gram too, on Instagram.
The most consistent.
Like you're,
Think so?
yeah.
dude. Yeah,
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 absolutely.
definitely. And you're posting a lot, and in like clips of your videos and stuff. Like fire.
I do all this shit on the fly. Nothing's ever planned. I'll,
Yeah.
I will be fucking like bored on my phone and just like I'll just start creating and just like making shit that I think is cool, and then all of a sudden I'll figure out a way to talk to my people on the internet. You might want to, I don't want to give them all the game, and make it look like my thing is unproduced, but I just like it's just my creative mind just kind of starts buzzing and like starting to
Yeah.
want to do shit.
Yeah, that's necessary too. Like Instagram is where all the artists are. It's your profile. That's who you are. Like, as far as like putting yourself out there, Instagram's huge.
My
So-
production skills have probably transitioned over into like what I produce on Instagram, more than anything.
That's facts.
Yeah.
I believe that.
It's the same grind. It's just a different platform.
Like
He's got the same eye.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you think about it, like I've probably been like probably 6-7 years very consistent, no stop, like with compelling content, right? And like pushing a issue. Like for most people, that's fucking hard. Where am I gonna get this content? How do I keep people engaged? Like, or how do I keep it just where it's entertaining, right? Like, I'm such a product of network television growing up, watching VH1 or Nickelodeon or, all these things that I just like, I've seen it done. I know what it's supposed to look like. I know what I liked. I know what we're used to and this and that. Like, I kind of just like, it just comes so natural to me.
Dang.
Dude, yeah. How tapped in? On another note too, how tapped in are you like with the up and coming artists in the city? Like
Probably not as
newer.
tapped in as I need to be. And that's just my fault, just being busy and not having enough bandwidth to just listen to more music and probably hanging out with more young life. But that's something that I need to fix, because if I don't stay tapped in, then I'm gonna get old and surly, and my music is gonna show that too. So nobody ever stayed with their generation and just and did good things. All the good artists, all the great rock bands that kind of changed through the years and kind of evolved with the eras, they ended up being greater bands.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Facts.
Like
What
when I hear like old bands and like let's say Chicago. You ever heard of Chicago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
I know Chicago as the Peter Cetera Chicago, lead singer Peter Cetera. And then I'm listening to another song, and one of my uncles was like, "Yeah, this is Chicago." I was like, "Oh, this isn't even. It's a jam band. There's not even a vocalist over it. It's just like like rock music." I was like, "This is the same Chicago." He's like, "Yeah, they were a band, in the '60s too. They were just a jam band, and they were popular too." And there's tons of good bands that are like that evolved when the sounds or their just when things evolved, they evolved and made great music. It might not have been the same vibes, but they evolved and continue to make great music. So I always, I saw that and recognized that you don't have to stay doing one thing the whole time.
That's what's crazy about like being in a band versus like an individual artist, because like the drummer can change, like the guitarist can change, any position in the band could change, and the name could stay the same, so it can transcend through time. further. But like, is your son gonna be Anthony Danza? You know, like,
Sure.
you know, like it can't. You know, can you find another artist you like and be like, oh, now you're me.
Now you're Anthony Danza, yeah,
You know,
for real.
like
That's
as
good
a
point.
like as like an individual
true.
artist, like I guess it could be easier to get stuck in time unless you like take what you know and then you start paving a way for the youth, or like, you know, you working with artists right now that you mentor or help out, or, you know, give them game. Is that Proof Avenue?
Yeah, Proof Avenue is my label, and always my vision to have more than just, you know, me. I never wanted to be the lead artist or a lead artist. You know, I did this out of necessity. You know, I tried to produce for other people. I never wanted to be the rapper. I wanted to just make songs. I just wanted to be involved with music, and just out of necessity, I've had to step up and play that role. And now I'm okay with it because, you know, we found the recipe, and I like what I do, and I like the records that we make. But my passion was always to be more Master P than like a Tupac. You know, I don't want to be the guy that cranks out all this music. But I will if we have to. If this is the road we got to take till I can get there. But I want to be like Master P. I want to have a bunch of artists around me that I can help polish, shape, help them get their shit off and get out. And then we have like a big family entity where, you know, it's everybody has their favorite artist, and there's a common denominator between it all. And you know, it's just, it's fun to me like that. I don't know, I always like that concept. So Proof Avenue, yes, that is the label. The Proof Avenue Collective, that is the new era. And I'm excited about that part. Yeah, a lot of good music's about to come out. I got some great, amazing artists on deck, and different cities. A lot here in Seattle, but yeah, hell yeah.
That's what's up, man.
If
That's
I'm
what's up.
behind it, if I got my eye, if I got my hand on it, it's gonna be fire.
Facts.
I believe it too. Yeah, that word is gold, bro. Appreciate you popping on today, man. Popping out here.
Facts.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's been a blessing, bro. You got anything you wanna share with the fans? Any links you want us to drop down here?
We'll put the links in there. But yeah, I don't even know. We gave a lot of game. I ain't never told nobody on here. So there's some good shit in here.
Stupid game. I know.
What's
I
the whole
learned a lot.
background,
That's
too?
the sauce, bro. I was
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
that sauce too.
Yeah, no, we went back with it. I try to stay, you know, not don't get too deep in the story, because I really want to tell the story in a miraculous way at some point. So I try not to give too much out, but we got deep in some of it, so it's all good.
Hell yeah.
Glad y'all got it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, man.
Hell
It's
yeah,
fire.
Yeah.
for sure.
Hell yeah.